let's talk about unicorns. I never thought the day would come, but the day, my friends, has come. The day that we are going to be talking about unicorns and unicorn energy. And yes, unicorns exist just as dragons do. They are higher frequency beings, higher dimensional beings, which means they exist in the higher dimensions, which means they can't necessarily be perceived with our normal human senses in the lower dimensions, but that doesn't make them any less real. So today we're going to talk more about that, more about what they are, how their energy compares and contrasts to dragon energy, because if you're a regular on my channel, you know we love our dragons here, and so you're probably quite familiar with dragon energy. And I just find that in comparing the two, you can really start to understand both that much better. And then finally, we are going to talk a little bit about also how you can start working consciously with the unicorns and receiving the help they want to give you. But first, for those of you who may not know me, my name is Hannah, and I empower you to empower yourself. And so it is my intention today to do that by familiarizing you with unicorn energy, introducing the two of you, if you will, on a blind date. That's like the imagery that's coming through, giving you a blind date with the unicorns so that hopefully you can have fun with them all on your own without me or anyone else as an intermediary. So without further ado, let's dive right on in. So I honestly have not ever really been drawn to unicorns, which is why it's kind of crazy that I'm making this video now. I have always had a connection with horses, but not so much with unicorns. However, last Halloween, in Halloween of 2025, I was engaging in this shamanic ritual, and I was visited by a lot of higher frequency beings, but at the very end, I was visited by a unicorn, and I had my first really powerful, tangible, personal experience with the unicorn, and it was so great. I knew from that moment on that I was gonna have to talk about the unicorns, especially because we're moving into the year of the fire horse. And so unicorn energy is going to be very prominent this year. A unicorn is a form of a horse. So is a Pegasus, which is also a higher form of a horse. And as this unicorn showed me and kind of told me, if you want to call it that, unicorns are ascended master horses. Essentially, they are ascended horses. And that is what this, the horn is. It's like a representation of their crystallized third eye. Like they have mastered that frequency. They have mastered their connection to source. And so it crystallizes tangibly as this horn that literally comes from their third eye and can be used for all sorts of magical things. And I'm just thinking about like My Little Pony, for example, if you've ever watched that. I know the main character in the series that I liked, Twilight Sparkle, she is a unicorn and she's magical. And like, I'm just getting an image of her using her horn to like telekinetically, that's the word, to move things around without actually touching it, grabbing it. She can use her horn to just telekinetically move things around, which is really cool. And so unicorns can do all sorts of magical things with those horns, which comes about as a result of them having kind of transcended their beast-like nature, which is represented when they're still in that horse form. In any case, that was a bit of a tangent. Back to my story. So what was really fascinating is that in this shamanic ritual, everyone except me had done some plant medicine, and I was very firm in my boundaries. Plant medicine is not something that resonates with me. It does not work for me. And I was clear in my boundary. I wasn't going to take it. And then sure enough, it became very clear later on why I wasn't called to take it in this session, because I was like placed in the center of everyone in this ritual. And when people started doing the plant medicine, I started to get like a massive headache. And as it turns out, like later when people are sharing, it's like a couple of the people, when they did the plant medicine, like they got these massive headaches. And so I think I was kind of like placed as this sort of energetic anchor in the center to help kind of disperse the intense, the heavy energies. So I was, I guess, processing some of what the other people were processing on their trips in the center of this ceremony. And I had just like a killer headache, specifically in my like third eye area. It was awful. It was so intense. And this unicorn literally came to me and it put its horn into the center of my forehead, into my third eye, into my pineal gland. And literally then I felt this like spiral energy, and it was dissolving that dense energy that was in my third eye, in my pineal gland, in my crown chakra, just all up in my head. And it just brought in light, it brought in clarity. And then I suddenly had no pain, and it was absolutely magical, friends. And so I share that story because hopefully it can give you a better idea of what unicorns are capable of doing. I think the number one thing that they bring to the table is healing. They can heal. And their energy is very different from dragon energy, but it's very complementary in many ways. It is very useful to work with both, depending on what your needs are. So I guess we're going to dive into kind of contrasting and comparing the two energies then. So dragon energy, I would say it's very intense. If I could describe it in one word, it is intense. For better or for worse, dragon energy, very intense. On the contrary, unicorn energy is like not intense at all. It's so soft, it's gentle, it's pure. So if you have had enough of intensity and you just want some gentleness, some tenderness, maybe call on a unicorn for that. They can certainly bring that in. So then dragon energy, it tends to be very fiery. Even when you're working ironically with like a water dragon, it still has this like fiery like intensity to it. However, unicorns, again, they don't have that. They don't really have any elemental frequency, I guess, other than light is what they're telling me now. They have like, they hold the frequency of light itself. They embody light. And so it feels very different than working with dragons. And what fire does, that's of course dragons thing, right? Dragons fire, they're known for their fire. Everyone knows about dragons and their fire. Fire is an alchemical substance. It basically burns, it destroys, but in doing so, it alchemizes, it changes the form of something. However, the process of being transformed by fire is painful. Oftentimes it's painful. And again, it's intense, right? Unicorns, they don't operate like that. What they do, what they show me that they do, is that they literally just bring in light. They bring in light, they restore purity. And so from like the inside out, they help you activate the purity that already exists within you. Because every single one of us, no matter how corrupt the world has made us, no matter how much darkness we're holding, how much pain, how much trauma, every single being still has a speck, at least a speck of that purity, of that pure source light within them. And so the unicorns, what they do is they go into that source light that every being has. They help you access that, and they slowly expand it from the inside out. And so the process is much gentler because they're working with the source light that already exists within you, and they expand it. And they're not going to expand it like to get you out of your comfort zone, often as a dragon might. Dragons love their dragon trials. They love testing us, pushing the boundaries, getting us to take leaps of faith, getting us to get out of our comfort zone because we grow. But the unicorns, they're not so much about that. They work with that innate source within, and they will only expand it to the degree that they sense you're able to withstand in that moment for a comfortable experience, okay? So you can work with them step by step by step, day after day after day, and more they'll be able to bring in more and more of that light from within you. They'll be able to expand it further and further each time. But know that unlike the dragons, which will intentionally push you out of your comfort zone to get you to grow, the unicorns aren't going to do that necessarily. They just want to reconnect you with the purity that is within. And this is why in the legends, you know, unicorns, they're associated with pure maidens. This is literally the word that comes in. I'm just thinking of this game, Harvestella, if anyone knows of it. It's like a farm sim / RPG made by Square Enix, I think. There's a unicorn character in it, and he's like obsessed with like finding this pure maiden and protecting this pure maiden and stuff. That's what I think of when I think of unicorns, because they're associated with that pure maiden energy. There's something about the pure maiden archetype specifically that's just, it's pure innocence, right? It's pure purity at its purest sense. They can't stress that enough. Like, that's what unicorns are all about, is that purity. And so essentially the unicorns, they work with people that have that frequency. That's why oftentimes little girls are resonating with unicorn energy. This is why the unicorns work with them, because they are that frequency of like this purest purity, this high frequency energy. But of course, you know, they work with others too. Anyone that they work with has this pure energy. I'm thinking of, you know, someone else I have known in my life that was like a grown-ass man, and he has that frequency though. He's such innocence. He radiates such innocence, such childlike whimsy and purity, and he has a lot of unicorn guides. Surprise, surprise. So it's like very much this just purity. That's the frequency that they are drawn to, and that is the frequency that they will draw out of you if you choose to work with them. So if you're like, I think they're coming through at this time because if you're just sick of like the corruption in the world, the heaviness, the darkness, the strife, you just want some purity, some peace, some simplicity, call on the unicorns. They can help you with that. They can help you return to that state of purity and start to manifest it in the tangible world once more. So unicorns also, their specialty is healing. Rather than with dragons, I would say dragons can do healing too, but the type of healing they do is it manifests differently. But dragons, more so than anything, they're known for their alchemy. They're known for their energetic protection, right? Usually when I'm talking about dragons, teaching about dragons, that's like number one, is like they will protect your energy. They're so protective, strong, powerful beings. Unicorns, they're just focused mostly on healing, okay? They heal. This is why also in the legends, unicorns with their horn, they heal. They bring about miraculous healing. Literally, they say that the horn is a conduit for the miracle frequency. So maybe the miracle isn't even necessarily some physical body healing. Maybe it's just a healing of an energetic pattern in your life. Let's say you have like a wounded energy with a particular person in your life. There's like a wound, there's a rift in the relationship. You can bring in the unicorn energy to purify that, to heal it, to restore healing energy to that relationship, and so on and so forth. So anywhere in your energy where you have a wound, call on the unicorns to bring in that healing. And so they also they're showing me right now, they're two maybe favorite colors to work with if you really want to just get kind of an archetype for visualization, for calling on the unicorn energy. White and silver, okay? White and silver. Both of these colors hold the frequency of purity and of purification and just like this high vibrational energy. So white and silver are like the main. Of course, just like with dragons, you can work with unicorns of every color and different frequencies, and each one's gonna have a different flavor. But the standard that I'm seeing is white and silver. So if nothing else, you can imagine the unicorn energy as like a white light coming in with silver, or just a silver light coming in. They'll help you. So another thing the unicorns want me to share is that they are associated with the frequencies of Lemuria. Lemuria. Oftentimes on my channel, I've talked about Atlantis. I have very strong connections with Atlantis. Lemuria is, how I interpret Lemuria is it's more ancient than Atlantis, and it was more of a divine feminine society. Atlantis became more of a divine masculine society, and then eventually it became the corrupt masculine, which turned into the patriarchy that we now live in today. But Lemuria was like this divine feminine society. And so the unicorns, they really have this, like kind of divine feminine flavor to them. But also, that's not to say they don't have the masculine energy. They just have it in a different way. It's like they have very clear masculine structure around that feminine energy that they have. It's like, that's why unicorns often, they protect the fair maidens. They protect the pure maidens. They protect our pure energy. That's their masculine energy for protecting that. But I'm literally like getting an image of it now. And it's like that masculine energy, it's just like a thin layer of protection around like the life force, feminine energy within. The purity you could see as that pure source energy within, covered with like a nice little blanket of protection. That's the masculine energy. And that's how they choose to express that. So I'm feeling called to more or less wrap this up right now, but they want to come through directly. So I'm going to channel just unicorn consciousness directly for you. And they're going to share maybe what you can do to connect with them more deeply. If you want to call on them directly, if you want to work with them, if you want to just be buddies with them, you just want to chill with them, hang with them, I'm going to call them in. We'll see what they share. And I guess they're telling me too, it's really funny. It's like, normally like I love to go really deep, and I really overextend myself sometimes with my dragon energy, like doing really long sessions, channeling a lot. And they're showing me that this is how the energy contrasts. They're literally like cutting me off here, and they're like, okay, Anna, that's enough for today. If you want to hang with us more, you can do another video. You can have another session with us, and we'll keep doing it. We're not going to overdo it though. We're not going to burn ourselves out. We're not going to overextend. And so just know that if you're someone like myself that struggles with that, maybe it's time to call on the unicorns and have them teach you some healthy moderation. In any case, let's call them in. I, asi, eyasiya, eyasiya, usimuni, asiya, sasa, asasa, eyasi. Hello, beloved soul family. We have been watching you, guiding you, subtly but surely. We see your struggles, we see your pain, we see the intensity which has become commonplace. You have become so used to struggle that you struggle to accept that there could be another way, that things could be light, peaceful, joyful, easy, that this story could have a happy ending. And so we ask you to call on us if you need help believing again, believing in miracles. Allow us to show you that miracles exist. Miracles, in fact, can be commonplace. Allow us to show you miracles now. As for how to work with us, we invite you not to be in this mental realm about the how, overthinking, questioning, doubting. We ask instead you bring it down to the heart, which you can do by just taking a nice deep breath and inhale into the heart space, placing your hand there, exhaling and imagining you're just anchoring in there. It is through the hearts that you can connect with your God spark, with that speck of source within you, that portal. And it is through that portal, that energy, that spark, that you can also connect with us. And we can help you, we can guide you through expanding that bridge. So how you may connect with us, it's going to differ. It's going to differ for each and every one of you. That's why we ask you to not overthink, but to bring it down to the head. But here's one tip. Know that when you're in the mental realm, when you're overthinking, you're immediately out of our realm. We speak entirely from purity. We speak entirely from the heart, from joy, from play. When you are like a child, you are connecting with our frequency. So we ask you, we invite you to do an activity that you enjoyed doing as a child. And then you can imagine you're calling in one of us, many of us, as an imaginary friend to join you in the activity and see where the connection goes from there. And what may specifically help some of you is the simple act of just coloring a unicorn picture in a coloring book. So many of you loved to simply just color in coloring books as children. We ask you to reclaim that. That in and of itself is a very meditative act, a channeled act. When you bring your adult consciousness to the childlike activity, you may find that your psychic abilities come online in a big way. And so we'll leave you with that today, beloved family. We are so excited to reclaim our connection with you and for you to reclaim your connection with us. We're so excited to co-create with you in this exciting year, the fire horse and onward. Miracles are in store for you. Choose to believe, choose to allow, and the rest will soon be history. We thank you. We love you. Musi, musi, musi. Ooh, oh, that felt so nice. Wow. Oh, it's like a breath of fresh air after connecting so much with the dragon energy. Yeah, it feels really nice. It feels really light to connect with the unicorns. So as always, I'm curious if you felt that, what your experience is with the unicorns, if you've connected with them, if you have a relationship with them, if you have a personal unicorn guide. I'm pretty new to this, like I said, but maybe you are an expert and anything that you have to share about them. Yeah, I'm sure the collective would appreciate that in the comments. And so know that if you are feeling drawn to this energy and you want to go deeper in a community space, I am hosting a live session where we're going to do just that tomorrow, or maybe today. I don't know when I'm posting this, but it's going to be Thursday. As of filming this, it's Wednesday. And it's going to be in my private community. We're going to be working with the unicorns, going to the unicorn realm, seeing if any particular unicorn guides want to come through for us to bring in healing into our lives, to show us those miracles. And so you're welcome to join us. And I know this is kind of a last minute announcement for, it's probably going to happen like really soon after this video goes live, but know that even if you missed it and you join the house, recordings are always there, so you can always catch up on what you missed. Time doesn't exist, so I'm sure it'll be super powerful even if you watch the recording, and would invite you to check that out. And also on announcements, I'll say then in 2 weeks in the house, we're doing a very, very special session, which is a Year of the Fire Horse manifestation ritual. It's a group ritual we're going to do together where we're going to connect with our personal horse guide for the entire Year of the Fire Horse. Because as I've been saying in many of my energy updates about this energy, I literally see this year as if each and every one of us has our own personal horse, and we're going to be riding the horse throughout the year. And for some, it's going to be a bumpy ride and they're going to fall off the horse and then the horse is going to drag them. For others, you're pro and you're going to be doing all these like tricks and just riding and just having a great time, like feeling super free riding on your horse. And so it's my intention with this group ritual to introduce you to that horse energy, to that horse archetype, and as like a guide that you can actually talk to throughout the year and work with. And then together, through the power of group intention, we're going to plant our intentions for the year. We're going to start to manifest our dreams together. So I'm very, very excited about this session, so much so that you don't even need to join the House of the Spirit Dragon to join us for this particular session. If you don't feel called to join the house, you can just get like a one-time ticket for this session and join us just for the Year of the Fire Horse ritual. So I will put a link both to the house and to that Fire Horse ritual ticket in the description below. And then finally, if y'all have any like questions about the unicorns, if you liked this frequency, you want me to channel them more, feel free to say so. I definitely appreciate that feedback. The way that I channel, it certainly helps when people ask questions, because then I'm able to channel these answers that I didn't even know until the moment that I channel them. So yeah, if you have any questions about the unicorns, if you're resonating, you want more videos on them, just let me know, and that can certainly happen. I have a feeling, at least for the Year of the Fire Horse, we might be putting more emphasis on the unicorns and horse energy than we have in the past. I think it's going to be especially helpful for this year, and I'm excited to see what surprises they have in store for us. Either way, my friend, know that I'm sending you so much love, miracles, miracle frequency energy, blessings on your journey. Know that you are so powerful, you are so loved, you are so divine. This is going to be a really, really exciting time. Much love. Stay powerful.